What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video talking about 2019 Mr. Olympia. Wow, what a show, guys. People say it's going to be a very boring Olympia. It was not boring at all. It was very exciting. I am absolutely happy with the result. We're going to talk about all the men divisions. I'm not familiar with the women's. I don't follow the women divisions that much, outside of the women's physique. I kind of follow that a little bit because Shanique Grand is freaking amazing. But we're going to talk about all the placing of all the competitors and where everyone fell. So if you don't know, Brandon Currie won the 2019 Mr. Olympia. So congrats to him. He's the 15th man in the entire 55 years of the contest being held to win it. And it's actually very interesting because he was saying in his life the number 15 was popping up everywhere. His son was like seeing the number 15 and his wife was seeing the number 15 and like 15 things were happening to him. Like, he would do things, be a count of 15. It was very spiritual in a sense. So it was almost like destiny was telling him, the universe telling him that he was going to be the 15th man to win, and it happened. So Brandon Currie number one, William Bonac took second, Hadi Chupan took third, fourth was Dex Jackson, fifth was Rolly Winkler, sixth was Steve Kuklo, seventh was Cedric McMillan, eighth was Lucas Ossido, ninth was Akeem Williams, 10th was Patrick Moore, 11th was Luke Sandow, 12th was Juan Morel, 13th was Max Charles, 14th was Jonathan De La Rosa, 15th was Michael Lockett, and 16th was Muhammad Shaban. So a couple disappointing placements here. I know people, for example, had Luke in their top 5, top 6, and he just didn't bring it. I feel like if he would have brought the same conditioning that he had at the Arnold, he would have been, he would have been battling Steve for that 6th spot. He would have been battling Steve. I think he might have actually beaten Steve at the Arnold. So Luke really dropped the ball in his prep here. I think he did 4 shows total this year. So it's a lot of shows to do. It's a lot of dieting. He's probably been dieting for about 6 months. So it's never fun when you have to diet for so long. If you're actually considering him doing the Arnold, he probably started his prep in January for the Arnold. So he's probably been dieting for more than half the year, to be very honest. So, his body just probably needed a proper rest somewhere in between all that. But Luke fell 11, which was, kind of disappointing for him. I'm sure he's not too happy with that placement because he was being hyped up as being the top 6 guy, fighting for that 6th spot. But a surprise was definitely Brandon Currie winning. I know a lot of people had him in their top predictions. But a lot of people had Rolly winning. A lot of people had Dexter coming back, winning his 2nd standout and his 30th IFBB Pro win. But Brandon was just too much for everyone to handle. I feel Brandon was the best man of the show tonight. He had the complete package. He had insane conditioning. He had muscle detail from head to toe. He had all the size in the world. He actually in some poses was matching Rolly for size, which is not an easy thing to do. Rolly is a disgustingly big dude. So to match him in certain shots is impressive. Like Brandon went to town, did his homework, went to Kuwait, put on as much size as he possibly could in the time frame between the Arnold and the Olympia, and it definitely showed. Like he brought his shit and it paid off. He's now number 15 and he is walking away with $400,000. So that's impressive. If you're considering him winning the Arnold pays out, I believe, is $150,000. So this man got $550,000 alone from just prize money, not including guest appearances, not including if his sponsors pay him per contract per year, whatever that is. This is a really good payout year for Brandon, so really awesome for him. Actually had Hadi in second. William honestly looked downsized. I'm not even lying. There's some William has great legs, but I'm not sure if it's the way he posed or whatever he was doing with his presentation. Some of the shots he actually looks smaller than even Hadi. And Hadi is not a small man by any means, but I mean, you would think a guy like William would have no problem outsizing Hadi. Hadi looked bigger than William in certain poses. Hadi had better conditioning in my opinion. He has a better shape to his structure in my opinion. He probably has equally as good round muscle bellies, other than the back poses. I had Hadi winning over William. I mean, an argument could have been made for Hadi even coming in first, winning the whole show, but would they really have given the Olympia to someone who doesn't speak English? I don't want to say politics are a factor, but I mean, Hottie, this is his first show. He doesn't speak English. I feel like that had to have been some kind of weight in the decision to place him where. But either way, William did come in second, and I'm happy. I'm fine with that. Once again, I would prefer Hottie to have been second because I feel like Hottie brought a much better package than William. But nonetheless, Hottie did come in third, which is amazing. Your first Olympia coming in third, and there's only a couple guys in the entire history who can debut and come in top five. Lee Haney was one of them. I believe his first Olympia was was it 93? No, 83. I believe 1983 or 84. No, he won 84, so it would have been 83. I believe he debuted coming in top three. So we have him. I believe Flex Wheeler debuted coming in second. Kevin Lebroni debuted coming in second. I believe Sean Ray came in third or fourth or fifth at his first Olympia. And Phil Heath came in his first Olympia, placing third. Kai Green placed fourth at his first Olympia. So we do have these guys who cracked the top five their very first time around. Like their very first show, right out the oven, top five. Like easy, casual top five. And usually those guys are the front runners to eventually become the Mr. Olympia champion in the future somewhere. Lee Haney went on to become Mr. Olympia for 8 consecutive years. Flex and Kevin arguably are on crown Mr. Olympias, including Sean Ray. We know Kai Green is definitely on crown Mr. Olympia, and Phil went on to win 7 consecutive ones in a back-to-back years. So these guys usually do freaking amazing from here on if you can crack the top five at your very first Olympia. Dexter, fourth is a great placing for Dexter. Honestly, like I would have had Steve beating Rolly and Dexter. Like I would have had Steve number 4. Dexter looks great, amazing conditioning as always, great shape, great round muscle bellies. But for the most part, I think Steve brought that overall package to rival both those guys and even beat them in certain shots. Steve was probably the best condition of the three. Dexter, Rolly, and Steve. I feel like Steve was the best condition. He was the hardest. He was like granite. Great conditioning overall. Probably not the best muscle belly. He's not the best structure. Rolly does have a lot of muscle, but he didn't bring his A game. And I talk about Rolly. I think people were saying that he actually tore his hamstring. He had a hamstring injury 2 weeks out, so that probably did affect his cardio, and he did affect his training leading up to the Olympia. So that does suck if that's the case. Last thing you want to do is like get injured 2 weeks out. But even with injured hamstring, he still made top 5. So that's amazing. Like you really can't take anything away from that. So I want to talk about the other divisions as well. So going over to men's physique. So this is actually my first time seeing the men's physique outcome. Raymond Edmond, oh god, and Andre Ferguson coming in second. Brandon Hendrickson coming in fourth. Wow. So the reigning Mr. Olympia placing fourth. That's massive. I don't know who this Chiron guy is, but he beat last year's Mr. Olympia. And Ryan Terry's still up there. Ryan Terry coming in 5. I do like Ryan Terry's physique. I feel like he has, he's a big guy, but he's one of these old school physique guys who don't have this massive look in the physique division because all these physique guys are big. They're really freaking huge. But Ryan Terry is one of those guys who actually have that real classic 5 years ago physique look. So it's really good to still see him being rewarded for that look and still cracking the top 5. Moving on to the men's classic physique, and if you don't know, Chris Bumstead won. I don't agree with this. I think Breon had more than enough to secure his 3rd victory. I feel like they wanted Chris to win for the last 2 years, and they just wanted any reason to give it to him. And they're kind of like, okay, he's good enough. Like, let's just give it to him. Like, they kind of want Chris to be the face of classic physique, it looks like. But if you're gonna break down the package, okay, conditioning, shape, size, structure, muscle bellies, roundness, fullness. The only thing Breon doesn't have is height, but that's literally it. Like Breon has everything else. He has arms better than Chris Bumstead, way better back, comparable chest, amazing set of abs. He has better legs than Bumstead. He has better conditioning than Bumstead. Like I don't understand where you give the win to Chris Bumstead. If anything, I feel like Chris probably could have been 3rd. I don't like George Peterson's physique. I really don't. I feel like he is a 212 bodybuilder. even an open guy, if he wants to put another 10, 20 pounds, he can go open. He really can. He has an amazing back. I don't like his physique for classic. But even with that being said, his conditioning was better than Chris Bumstead. His back was better. His arms were better. It looks like he brought in his waist even tighter this time around as well. So, you could even make a case for George even placing second. But, Chris is a champion, not taking that away from him. The judges placed him where they placed him, so it's not his fault that he won. But, yeah, I mean, we have Chris, brand new classic physique champion, Breon number 2, George number 3, Keon Pearson now. Based on the call-outs, I thought he would have been either 5th or 6th. He went up to 4th. So I guess he made up a lot of ground the couple hours in between the prejudging and finals. Because 4th is amazing. Like he's one of those guys I talked about that debuts top 5. This is his first Olympian. He came in 4th. That's amazing. So great for him. This Chinese guy that came in 5th, I'm not familiar with him, but he did look phenomenal. So kudos to him. Talking about the 212. Kamal El-Gardni. Now, I feel like he deserved it. It was honestly a toss-up between him and Derek. I feel like Derek came back with fire. He came back with a night show. So freaking improved. Like, Derek was a different physique at the night show. He was tighter, harder, drier. But I feel like Kamal brought just a bit better package than he did at the prejudging. And it was enough for him to secure the victory. So Derek coming in second for the 3rd time in a row. 3 consecutive years being second. That's actually Kai Green there. I think Kai Green also came in second 3 years in a row before saying, all right, I'm done. So Derek is that, number 2 guy right there. Sean Clarita, probably the shortest guy in the entire division, weighing, I think, 171 pounds. He was on stage, which is massive. Last year, he was 160. This year, he came in at 172. So he put on 10 plus pounds of muscle in about 10 months, 11 months. That is insane for him. That's a lot of freaking size, and on his frame being so short, 10 pounds for him is like 30 pounds on a big guy. Like, it shows a lot. John Jewett, I was actually very surprised of John Jewett. Feel like his videos and posts on Instagram, I was kind of worried about his conditioning. It didn't really look that great, but he brought it on stage. Like, he dropped the water, he pulled the water, he showed up, he did his thing, and it looked freaking awesome. And Ahmad Ashkanani, honestly, I wouldn't even have had him in the top 5. He just doesn't have legs. I feel like Hide should have been in that top 5 spot there. I don't feel like Ahmad Ashkanani did enough to secure that top 5 placing. Hide was amazing. Hide had arguably the best conditioning, if not top 3 of the best conditioning in the entire 212 show here. He should have been top 5 in my opinion. Samuel Haddad, I don't know why he's here, to be very honest. He just was not conditioned, in my opinion. I don't think he brought what it took to place number 6. I mean, we could take a look at him real quick. For me, I remember him being quite soft from the back. Looks very good from the front, very freaking good from the front. But I believe certain shots from the back, he looked quite soft. This pose here, I mean, he looks good, very good shape, very good structure. Very good round muscle bellies. Definitely kind of that Sean Ray skin texture. But let me actually see a back pose here. So as you can see, kind of soft. Like, that's really soft from the back. And if we were to actually compare him to someone like Hide Yamagishi, then you're going to see the big difference between conditioning. So Hide here, I also want to take a look at him from the back as well. No homo. Let's actually get a good back pose of Hide. And he's a bit tighter here, vascularity through the traps, more separation in the hamstrings, as you can see. My boy over here, Sammy, take a look at the hams. I mean, hams are there. Glute tie-in is not exactly greatly prevalent. I feel like Hadi just had much better conditioning from the back. Hadi's not as big. Hadi? What? Hide is not as big, but in terms of conditioning, I feel like he was a bit tighter in terms of, that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot there. But overall, pretty good show. Overall, great show. I do love it. Some disappointing factors I would say is Henry Pierre Ano placing 14th. So he dropped 10 placings from last year, because last year he came 4th. This year he came 14th. So that is as horrible. Let's actually take a look and see how he looked. I actually didn't see him on stage, to be fair. Yeah, he's definitely not as tight as he was last year. Definitely not as tight. Last year he was really freaking tight. If you follow him on Instagram, he was doing a lot of these cheat meals, like a lot of burgers and fries, and he's actually very tight from the back. He's actually pretty tight from the back, but I don't feel like it was enough to place him any higher. There's a lot of great guys who came in this year who was not playing around. They did bring their A game. So, anyways, guys, that's all the placings of the men divisions of the 2019 Miss Olympia. Overall, great show. I love it. Hope you guys did enjoy it as well. If you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure to leave a like, share, comment down below. If you're not subscribed, make it a thing. Sub down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.